Yeah, hi, I'm John Belsham. I'm a winemaker from Marlborough, New Zealand, and with a particular passion for Pinot Noir. And we're in Central Otago today. We're in the Bannockburn region, one of the more dramatic wine growing landscapes you'll see. It's a very special place. It's a very unique part of New Zealand. It's the most inland part of New Zealand. You cannot be further away from the sea in New Zealand. So it's very dry and it gets intense summer heat, but also it gets cool nights, which makes it wonderful for cool climate varieties such as Riesling and Pinot Noir. Central Otago is the most southern grape growing region in the world, so it is unique in that sense. It's unique in that it's got this extreme climate and this sort of very vibrant landscape, as you can see around us. And the wines that are produced from here are produced from grapes that are growing in this infertile, craggy landscape. They struggle, they get ripe every year, but it's life on the extreme for a grapevine, and therefore the wines have this amazing energy about them, the sense of place that defines Central Otago Pinot Noir. There's no question that Pinot Noir is the signature of Central Otago, and each wine region in the world does have a signature wine style, and Central Otago has captured that with Pinot Noir. They're typically very brightly coloured because of the very high sunshine intensity here, so that imparts a vibrancy in the grape as it ripens, so you get this incredibly almost purple hue to the wine. One of the things about Central Otago wine is this evocative smell, and when you smell a wine, there are certain triggers that give you a signature of the wine and its sense of place. With Central Otago Pinot Noir, often you can actually smell the aroma of wild thyme. Now, viticultural scientists have explained that wild thyme has a natural oil which is volatile, so it's airborne and it can land on the fruit as it's ripening and imparts some flavour into the grape. Now, I'm not sure whether we can scientifically prove that, but certainly the next time you're tasting a Central Otago Pinot Noir, think about wild thyme. We are here in Bannockburn in the Akarua vineyard. Bannockburn is one of the sub-regions of Central Otago, one of the warmer sub-regions, and here we have this beautiful Pinot Noir ripening about 2 weeks prior to harvest. And as you can see, the vine has done its growing for the season. The leaves are still green, they're still holding on, they're still working. All of this wood is nice and brown and it's mature. The job now for this plant is to ripen its fruit. And as you can see, these beautiful Pinot Noir bunches are wonderfully shaped. They've actually been manicured because this is one of the premium aspects of the vineyard. And you can see that the vine is carrying almost a perfect amount of fruit. There are small bunches, very compact. The berries are quite small, and this is very important for Pinot Noir, so that we're looking for flavour, intensity, colour and vibrancy. And you can see in these we've got very tight plump berries. There's an occasional berry with some dehydration, but that's quite normal. The other thing we're looking for is even ripeness, because we're getting the sun on this side of the berry, but this inside face of the berry doesn't see as much sun, so we need to make sure that it's not green on one side and red on the other. The winemaker, in making the decision as to when these are ready, is reliant on tasting them every day and getting the balance of sugar and acid and tannin just perfect. This is where art meets science, because you can analyse, you can check the sugars, you can measure acidity, you can graph that, but it's only the skilled winemaker that can choose the optimum ripeness. Now look at that bunch, just a beautiful bunch of Pinot Noir. And if I just pluck one of those berries, and taste that, and I'm looking at the seeds because it's very important for a winemaker to identify ripeness. And I can look at the colour from the skins, I can look at the colour of the seeds and the maturity there, and I'm tasting that these grapes are very sugar ripe, but they're not yet right to make the reserve quality of Pinot Noir that they're destined for. So In another couple of weeks, with some more sunshine and some more cool nights, these will be just perfect. A winemaker's making a decision now about the flavour of a product that won't be consumed for 3 years. So here we have a fermentation vessel. It's all cleaned and ready for vintage. This will be in about 10 days' time. This is going to be full of grapes. What we have here is a modern replica of the old-fashioned plunging device. So this is a pneumatic device. Fruit comes into the vessel, and le voila, we have the modern-day plunger. Not quite the French beauty plunging grapes, but very effective. So after a few days and the yeast starts, the skins will rise and we get what we call the cap. So the skins sit in the top 1/3 of the fermentation and the juice sits in the lower 2/3. So it's a bit like this sort of giant layer of material, a bit like a tea bag that you have to jiggle up and down and to get the goodness out of it. So the tannin, the structure, the colour, all of that comes from the skins, and the juice just becomes the vessel to carry that. So the juice gives you the lovely, elegant, feminine side of Pinot Noir, and the skins give you the wonderful structure and robust masculine side of Pinot Noir. So the winemakers choose their strategy as to how much of the feminine, how much of the masculine in their wine that they want. And this is where it all happens. Well, this is one of the 4 Pinot Noir barrel cellars here at Felton Road, and this is a completely sealed cellar. As you can see, the ceiling and the walls are made from formed concrete. There are no external windows, there's no ventilation, there's no natural ventilation. So this is an environment which is maintaining a naturally cool ambient temperature, which is perfect conditions for aging of wines. Premium red wines such as Pinot Noir are looking for a very even temperature and humidity. They do not respond well to sudden changes in both. So this is the classic way of maturing high quality Pinot Noir in barrel. The winemaker is constantly checking, constantly evaluating to ensure that the wine is where he or she wants it to be. So a sample will be taken on a regular basis and analysed in the laboratory, tasted by the winemaker, and most importantly, these barrels will be kept full because there is a natural evaporation. So there is some evaporative loss, and that evaporative loss is replaced by air. Air is the enemy of wine whilst it's aging, so that has to be topped up. So we're going to open this Pinot Noir 2009 Akarua Pinot from Bannockburn. So this is made from the grapes that we've seen on the vineyard today. And as you can see, it's got this beautiful, intense, vibrant, lively colour. Pinot Noirs do not have the same depth of colour as Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah. They are more red in their profile, they're not quite as deep and inky. But good Pinot Noirs have this beautiful clarity of colour. They're very bright, particularly from this region. They have this wonderful violet tinge to them. So aromatically, you can honestly smell the wild thyme in that. It's just like the grapes that we tasted on the property. Wonderful, long, rich, enveloped, sweet fruit, ripe tannins, sensual characters, beautiful long finish. Just a classic example of Central Otago Pinot. Pinot actually goes with so many foods. It's a very versatile wine in that respect because it's not heavy. So it's got enough aromatics to handle lighter dishes. Beautiful with fresh seafood. One of my favourites is salmon. And in terms of meat dishes, the classic Pinot Noir marriage is duck with Pinot Noir. Now, duck because it's just got enough oiliness in the meat to balance the tannins. But my preference is actually for lamb. I think the wonderfully fragrant New Zealand lamb is wonderful match with Pinot.